Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Fans in Motion podcast. Truly the only podcast you really didn't know you needed. I'm looking at my buddy Josh, just me and him today. And I say to Josh, dressed to kill, looking dynamite with her high lace stockings and her sweater so tight. I asked her name. She said her name was Maybe. Story of my life. Say hello, Josh.
Yo, yo, yo. What are you wanting to do? Piss off half of the
Ah,
Fans in
Jesus
Motion
Christ.
fan base by
A,
quoting
cu-
some
a damn
damn
Yankees.
Yankees?
How about them damn Yankees?
This ain't a damn Yankees podcast.
I well, we'll get into it, but after the show Sunday night, man, I was rocking, man. I was feeling good, and sometimes the songs hit right, and man, when they did their damn Yankees, and I know we've had recently some back and forth with people on the set list stuff, but I don't care. You're never going to hear damn Yankees songs. The only way you're going to hear them is through Night Ranger.
Yeah.
Uh,
People
and and
hold out for a damn Yankees reunion, but
yeah,
I would put a lot of money on it saying that it will never happen. Um, hey, this episode, the show that Andy just referred to, we're going to talk about the what was the date? September. What was
February
it?
5th, 2023, the
Night
Mighty Night
Ranger
Ranger played
in at the Ryman Auditorium
the Mother Church
in
itself.
Nashville, Tennessee. So
I got this
the
cool little thing, Josh.
yeah, I got one of those too. Um, we'll talk about that in a bit. So those that don't know, the Ryman Auditorium is one of those iconic venues in the United States, home of the Grand Ole Opry from, and I'll check the dates here, but from the 30s up until the 70s.
Yeah.
Um, our generation, maybe the Grand Ole Opry doesn't mean as much. And when I say the Grand Ole Opry, I mean the Grand Ole Opry at the Ryman.
Yeah, the
Uh,
show.
but back in the age of radio, the Saturday night on what is it, 650 WLM or something like that,
WSM is
WSM,
the radio station.
and you can still get it Saturday nights,
Yeah.
on AM radio. Um, but that's where that's what everybody was listening to. It was one of the most listened to programs. Every country music singer, that was their
Yeah.
goal, and it still is, to get on the Opry. Uh, and like I said, especially back then, the 30s, 40s, 50s, that was the place. The Opry was the place to be.
Yeah.
The Ryman Auditorium, which was home of the Grand Ole Opry, it was built in 1892, and I guess it was originally like a church.
It was actually a church, yeah.
Yeah. They eventually add a balcony to it, um, and eventually the Grand Ole Opry moved there 1925, maybe right around there. So yeah, I mean, you can see like from 25 to the early 70s. But everybody played there, country music wise. Hank Williams, Webb Pierce. I mean, it just goes on and on.
Yeah.
Elvis made an appearance there, I think, either 54 or 55.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, was not well received.
Well,
Um,
no. He wasn't country or western.
but he was playing on the Louisiana Hayride at the time,
All
and
right.
he was going fine over there. He was opening for Hank Snow, and then he goes to the Opry. Uh, Obviously, it didn't go over too well, but and presidents have done campaigns there. Teddy Roosevelt being one back in the early 1900s. So the place has got a lot of history. Now, when the Opry left in the early 70s, they built, a brand new building on the outskirts of Nashville, Opryland, USA. They still got the amusement park there.
No.
All right. used to have an amusement park off to the side, and anyways, what they did was they cut a circle right at center stage, and where every performer would have stood, and took that to the new Opry. And so if you go to the new Opry, you'll see a stage with a different color circle.
Right.
Um, and the Ryman used to have an old stage with a new circle. It's no longer like that. We'll get to that. Um, but there for probably about 20 years, it sat dormant. Uh, was close to being demolished a couple times. Um, uh, uh, shit. Roy Acuff, who was the leader of the Opry for a lot of years, he didn't care if it got torn down. He's like, I've
Right.
never had, he spent his whole career there, but he's like, I never had a good moment there. It's hot, it's uncomfortable.
Yes.
Tear it down. I thought that was interesting when I saw that. And then in the early 90s, I mean, Lou Harris recorded a live record there. And then that kind of got it going again to where I think in the early 2000s, they put a shit ton of money into it. And then they've been holding concerts there, and everybody has kind of played there. Um, I mean, I've been to the Ryman, and I had never been inside, but um, uh, you've seen shows there, right?
I've been there twice this year alone.
All right.
I run down there a lot. Uh, I'm a nostalgic about venues, and to just I feel special when I'm in there. I can feel like wow, you're inside of history, so to speak.
Mhm.
And
Same with if you're shagging an 84-year-old woman. So
exactly, you're deep in history. Well,
well,
somewhat deep in history. I mean,
you may not be.
um, so I like going down to the Ryman, and you can sometimes get tickets not too expensive. And I'll just go check out bands. I mean, I've seen Dwight Yoakam there. I've seen the Mavericks there. I just saw Andrew Dice Clay there, which was interesting. I've seen Kevin Smith there, and of
Mhm.
course now the Mighty Night Ranger. And it's become kind of a you want to have that feather in your cap, so to speak.
Yeah.
You want to say you played the Ryman, and it's really something.
Yeah. And I mean, the Ryman, there's a lot that's different with it today. It's been modernized. Um, the the entrance now is on the east side. Um, and there's a whole section that's been built brand new. So the
Yeah,
part with like the concessions and all that, that's the newer side. It used to be, obviously that wasn't there, but it used to be the entrance was on the west side.
right. The main entrance. Yeah,
Yeah, and no longer. Um, and there was never a lot of room there, and the dressing rooms were always small to where if you were a performer and let's say you played at the beginning of the show and hey, I'm not set to play until till five singers down, a lot of them would go across the alley and go into Tootsie's usually, which back then obviously, I mean, Nashville is so much different just how it was in the early 2000s when I started going there.
yeah,
I mean, in the early 2000s, you could still go at night and go into a bar and sit. Now there were a lot of bars, but the street was still open. Broadway was still open. I mean, and it's slowly gotten to the point where it's basically East Coast Vegas, and there's you know,
yeah,
they got the rooftops open on these places now, and um, yeah, it's just it's not the same, but even in 2000, it was nothing like it was in the 50s and 60s. If you look at a photo, you see Tootsie's there, and everything around it is just, like where Legends is right on the
yeah,
corner. That was like a loan building, and everything else is something else. So what they would do is they would, okay, I just got done playing. I won't be ready, till after Cal Smith plays, and they would go in there and drink, and then they'd have the Opry on there. Oh, okay, Cal Smith's playing. I gotta go, and then they just walk across the alley, go in and play. So that's how a lot of business was done too. Uh, so a lot of cool history about the place. And then obviously a big country music fan. I love old country music. When I saw Night Ranger was playing there, like, which I've been kind of doing, like, I want to go see this venue with and use my little, my little pass so I can go do whatever I want. And I did that for Hobart Arena
Yeah.
and I did it for this. And um, yeah, it was just it was cool. I got to talk to um, some of the people that work there and take a,
Yeah.
obviously go backstage and look at stuff. And um, it was cool. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
Night Ranger played. Um, I know you got to pick up the old tour manager from the airport,
Had to
kind
do a
of
little work.
kind of kicking it off a few days early, and I showed up Saturday, and um, oh, I can't remember who I ran into, but oh, I will tell you this: I saw a little bit more of um the orchestra show.
Oh,
We all right.
yeah,
So they
yeah.
got like the opening montage and stuff like that. It's going to be fucking awesome.
It looks good.
It looks like I
Can't
said,
wait.
I saw like the rough draft and it's a little bit done more now. So that's all I can tell you guys. It's going to be worth the wait. Um, I did while I was there, Brian Isley, who is the one that his company recorded that and
Okay.
is putting it together. I got to meet him and talk to him, and I think we're going to have him maybe on the podcast, hopefully right around when
Oh,
that's going to be released.
great.
So, we got that. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit just because I don't want, uh, uh, I want me and you to be on the same page. We did meet someone
Yeah, I
who,
wasn't going to announce anything,
yeah,
so you
uh,
can hold back if you want
yeah,
to.
I want to
There's
hold
stuff
back.
lined up. There's stuff
Yeah.
lined up.
We came into contact with someone who was on the road with Night Ranger from Dawn Patrol to Big Life. So we're
Yeah.
making arrangements to make that happen as
Fun to
well.
talk to,
Yes,
too.
definitely. Definitely.
I mean, the little interaction I had, I was like, you gotta come on the show.
Yeah. So we'll have that. But yeah, um and there were, a lot of people in town. And if you remember Kelly talking on when he was on our show, he mentioned that there is a real penny.
Right.
I got to meet the real penny.
So does she live here?
No,
Okay.
no. And what else happened on Saturday? Oh, the publicist for
Oh
the
yeah.
Grateful Dead and the Doobie Brothers contacted the Night Ranger publisher, former publicist, like, "Hey,
Former.
are you doing the Night Ranger social media?" And, no, we're they're like, "Well, whoever is doing that is doing an awesome, fantastic job or whatever." And word got back to Night Ranger management and everything, and they told me, and it's always, and the I can't remember his name. I don't know if I'd say it if I did remember, but the guy that runs basically their booking agency. I don't
Yeah.
want to but he told us when we were at Sounds on the Ground, whenever the fuck that was. Uh,
Oh yeah, down here in Dixon.
yeah, last
Yeah.
year or a couple of years ago. Um,
October. Yeah.
it was last October. That's been
Yeah.
longer than that.
No, a year ago, October.
All right. So anyways, he had told, said then like, hey, it's, he was impressed with it and said it was doing really good. And he was at the show, so I got to see him again. But so yeah, that was a, cool compliment. And I, told a couple of the guys like, hey, if you guys can't get a hold of me and you go to my Facebook page and all it is a, marijuana leaf on there, I've jumped ship and I'm on
Jumped.
I'm on tour with the Dead.
He's
Um,
trucking.
Yep.
down to New Orleans.
And then what else did I say? Like that'd be an easy podcast to do. Okay, on this episode, we're going to discuss is does Shakedown Street sound great if you're smoking weed? All right, Andy, yes. Brent,
Yes.
yes. I agree. Their
Let's
list is
play it in
right.
its entirety.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
Thanks for
So
tuning in.
but yes, that was cool. And then that night, someone didn't want to join us, but me and Eric uh took in the the sights and sounds of Broadway, which me being a country music purist about makes me want to puke. But
Yeah, real quick, for those that have never been to Broadway, you drive down Broadway, and it's only a couple of blocks, the entertainment area, but it is a cacophony of sound. Each bar is open, each bar has live music, and each bar is trying to be louder than the next. And if you just drive down Broadway, roll your windows down, and you're trying to discern which version do I like of Don't Stop Believing, because it's coming from four different bars.
yeah, that's the other thing. It's like, and you all that music, you won't hear any country music.
Yeah, you're not
Uh,
hearing the closest you'll get is Wagon Wheel.
yeah. Now, if you go the one place that they've done a good job of keeping it as good as they can is Roberts, was it Roberts Western Palace, or it's right there beside Layla's Bluegrass Inn and Tootsie's. It's right there. But Roberts Western, I can't remember what the
Yeah.
fuck it's called, but Roberts, that's all you need to know. And they got a great, fried bologna sandwich and PBR there, even on a weekend nights, 250. It's like a sore Peter, you can't beat it. So with that's still a good place, but it's just so damn packed on the weekend. So we ended up going all the way down, and I can't remember what road it is, but basically heading towards Painter's Alley. And we went to a place called Cerveza Jack's, and it
Yeah.
wasn't as packed. The guy they had playing, I feel bad because he plays good guitar. He sounds just like Chris Stapleton,
Oh wow.
and it's like it just shows you how much talent there is there. And there's not that many people there. But anyways, if you go to Cerveza Jack's, the steak taco is good. The street corn is fucking phenomenal. I spent $20 on fucking corn while we were there.
Oh shit.
So yeah, I mean Eric took in those sites. And then the next day, went down to the lobby and I ran into Brad and hell, I don't know who else I ran into. It was just Brad there earlier in the day, and then headed over to the Ryman. Um, and uh, what was kind of cool is so I was there and they mostly had everything set up. The band wasn't there yet, but if you the Ryman was open for tours,
Right.
so if you went and took the tour, you get to go up like from the stage and get a picture taken. Well, it would have that Night Ranger logo in the back. I
Yeah.
saw the printed off photos. So it's like if you were a fan and you were there, it's like a cool, you know, photo to get because you got the Night Ranger backdrop there. And Brian took a great photo of guy that's on Fans of Motion with us. Um, just hanging out, but during all that dead time, me and Ryan
Yeah.
were I don't know. I don't fuck knows what we were talking about, but I hadn't seen him for a couple months, so we're just bullshitting, passing the time up there on stage at the Ryman, and Brian took that photo, so it's kind of like, it's kind of cool, I gotta, because I really never take photos very, myself, so um,
Got a picture of you on the Ryman stage, man. That's
yeah,
pretty cool.
I know. But I saw, a few people from the page before the show, and um, I took my tours and walked around and uh did all that. Trying to think anything cool. Helped them set up the meet and greet area, and then um
Where'd they do that at, by the way, if you don't
the meet and
mind?
greet it was it
Because I
was
was trying to imagine where they would do it at the
the,
because I know there's not a lot of
they
room backstage.
they did it in the Johnny Cash dressing room on the third floor. So
Because I
the
saw people coming out from up there, and I was like,
yes,
what are they
yes.
doing up there?
So well they yeah, so I don't know
Okay.
exactly. I was actually like, well, I was in the room where they were doing the meet and greet, which, like I said, the dressing room wasn't very big. Um, so yeah, when the third floor is if you walk out from the backstage area through that door, you're on the balcony level.
Right.
All right. So we put that together. The band came in. They took some photos of them up on the stage. I was up on the balcony, so I think I posted one on our page of Jack maybe getting his picture taken.
Yeah.
So they all got their picture taken on the stage. Um, everybody was in a good mood. It was a great time. Sound check. They worked on some of the songs that they were playing. They had that night that they hadn't played in a while, which we'll get to the set list here in a bit. Um, and yeah, they did they did this the uh the sound check, and I mean, it was cool sitting there and hearing them work up Reason to Be.
Yeah.
So obviously I was um happy about that. Um yeah, and then after sound check, it was um them signing some autographs for the VIP. So they signed them that day. So if you got the VIP, there's Jack signing them.
Yeah.
Um I know, I'm sure no one doubts it, but you know, there was that. I got some decent pictures of um, Brad walking through the Ryman there at sound
Oh,
check.
nice. Nice. That's a
Um,
great shot.
there's a really good shot. It might be later in my thing. Here is the red lighting was so bad that for me to like do anything with it, it's kind of hard. But there's him with like the Ryman Auditorium thing right
Yeah.
above
Hard
him
to
and
see it.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so I don't know if I got anything. But yeah, I mean they did sound check, and I had to find this, but they got some group photos on the stage. Probably
Yeah.
Brian took that. Um but yeah, they dragged me over to because we're waiting for the meet and greet to start. And I just went up with them, because usually it's like, they don't need me, but like I'll go up for like the first 5 minutes because usually something happens where, hey, can you help?
Yeah. An
But why
extra
we're
hand.
why we're waiting, they're like, get over here, take a photo. I'm like, yeah, I don't need a photo. And then they basically forced me. So there's
Uh,
me, being forced to do the meet and greet. Um, so
Such a hard life.
I know. But yeah, the meet and greet, it was me, Angela and Radley and Ed all had to, and there was, I think, someone from the venue kind of getting people in these small spaces through and everything. And
And
but they
there
were,
was a lot of meet and greet too, wasn't there?
yes,
Because I had dinner with Ed one night, and he was telling me like there's a lot of meet and greets for this one,
yeah, like one of them asked how many
like
we
more
got
than
left.
normal.
Yeah, someone there was someone there helping because Brad was like, how many we got left? And I peeked out the door and asked that guy,
Like
and he
50.
I was close. Uh and you know so but that's good though. And we got it done. And uh and there were people there. um I can't remember his last name right now, but Paul is his first name. Got to meet him. He's the guitar player for Taylor Swift.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I can't remember his last name, but a guy named Michael. He is in the Guess Who. Obviously not an original member, but
Right.
he's playing with the
Current
guests.
member.
Yeah. Um, I don't know, there might have been some others, but just two off the top of my head. They did send me after the show to go grab Hugh McDonald from Bon Jovi, but he wasn't there when I got there. Um,
Well, there was a lot of industry people there too. I think what Ed was telling me that because there's so
oh
much
yeah,
record industry people here, and a lot of people wanted to come see Night Ranger.
yeah. Anthony Fox, who has basically produced. I can't.
Everything.
Well, no, I can't remember somewhere in California or not, but Don't Let Up and High Road and the new record. Um, he, and I met him a couple years ago at Monsters of the Mountain and stuff. He was there. I got to talk to him for a few. Um, the wives were all there. Um, we got to meet the infamous Molly Blades. Um, very good person. And so when did you get into? Because I know we texted some. Um, when
Yeah.
did you?
So the quick story is I had to return the band's rental car. So I had to get a hold of it. I had to catch up with Ed at some point in time to get the keys from him. So I try not to bother him because I know he's busy. So I just said, hey, I was over at the food hall eating, and I said, hey, I'm across the street, just whatever you want to meet up. And he's like, well, call me when you get to the venue. So I get to the venue, and I'm thinking I can skip this huge line around the venue with my pass. I'm like, I'm just gonna scoop by all these people. So I call it. I'm like, hey man, I'm at the venue. And we just come on in. He goes, I'll just go ahead and get in line, and when you get inside, call me. I'm like, ah.
Oh, dude.
So I was trying to impress my wife with like, yeah, watch this. I'm gonna get us right through this line.
Ed, don't
That
listen. Ed, don't listen to this part. Next time, you know,
call you.
text me and um,
Well, that's the
it's
funny thing. So when I got inside, he's like, just message Josh because he's right next to me and I'm busy. I said, gotcha. And that's when I messaged you, and you're like, give me, half an hour. I was like, got it. So
yeah.
yeah, once Firefall came on, which they were really good. I don't know if you got to hear any of Firefall, but they were good. And then Ed starts texting me, "Where are you?" I was like, I'm in my seat, like watching the show." And then,
You must have texted during meet and greet.
I did
Because yeah,
because
you
that's
did.
when you're like, give me a half an hour. I was like, all right,
Yeah, it probably was longer than a half hour.
it was,
Uh,
but I wasn't.
um,
I knew you were busy because he said he's next to me, and I know he was doing meet and greets. I was like, Josh has been wrangled into something.
yes. That was and I didn't know how many it was. Uh, but yeah. So did you get to see Firefall?
I got to see like 3 songs, and then that's when Ed said, "Hey, come back
Mm.
and hang out." So I did.
I was so just kind of exhausted just from the day before and
Yeah,
that night before that I stayed on the third floor after everybody left and sat on this couch
yeah.
and just kind of like zoned out and took like a 5 minute nap or something. So I was nowhere to be found for a while. But yeah, because I came down back, you know, uh, to the where you were at, and
Yeah.
uh, it was just kind of weird. I'm back here talking to someone. I look over and it's like, there's Andy.
Yeah. I mean it's it's surreal for you and I to sit here and casually talk about uh hanging out backstage. I mean, again, there's a younger version of me who just would have died to get a guitar pick. And, I was standing there, just little parts of it, the experience from my point of view. And I had messaged my wife to come back, so she came back. And the funny thing, this is privilege, but I loved it. So Ed says, "Come over to the side stage, the backstage door." So I go over there, and I forgot I have my pass on, but I forget the power that thing wields. So I go to the guy who's staying in security, and I was like, "Oh, I'm just waiting for the tour manager to come get me." He's like, "Come get you," because you got a pass. You can just walk back there. So I'm like, "Oh, cool." So I go to hit the door, and the door won't open. He goes, "Well, I have to open it for you. It's got a security."
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's like, "Yeah." So then I called my wife to come back, and I just opened the door, and I said, "She's with me," and he's like, "All right, go on in." And I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool."
Yeah, you
you
don't
know.
want to tell how people how easy it is now.
Well,
Uh,
it's because of the pass. It wasn't, and Ed had given me a pass to
yeah.
give her. She had a pass to get back for the night. But anyway, um, the cool things from my perspective were is, we were standing in that little cubbyhole area, just staying out of the way, and Carrie pops out. He's like, "Hey, man, what's going on?" And of course, I introduced myself because I don't expect these guys to remember me. And he's like,
Mhm.
"I know who you are." I was like, "Well, I don't expect you to know me." And he gives me a big hug, and I introduce him to my wife, and he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" And then Kelly comes walking out, and my wife's like, "Oh my God, there's Kelly." And I said, "That's the drummer." She goes, "I know who Kelly is." you know, I was like, "Well, I don't know what all you know." And Brad, I was actually, it's funny because I was holding a Sharpie in my hand, and I was holding my hatch print poster. And I wasn't holding it to get it signed. Had the Sharpie because I had to write the date on Teresa's pass. And Brad's like, "Need me to sign something?" And I was like, "No." Then I was like, "Shit, yes," but I didn't
Yep, that's
because I don't expect it's still a little surreal
it's yeah,
sometimes,
yeah.
and I don't expect Brad to be like, "Hey, what's going on? How you doing?" I'm like, I'm good, Brad Gillis." And then like, was it you that took me into the dressing room where Jack was sitting there, or was that Ed?
No,
They were all still in there, and
yes,
one of you
because
pulled me in just to say
so I
hi.
I didn't
And I was like,
I
"Hey, Jack, what's going on?" He's like, "Hey, man, how you doing?" And he shook hands,
because
and
because
he's
I
like,
was
"Hey,
because I was with Ed, so I know it
yeah,
wasn't Ed, but Ed saw it, and then he shoved me in behind you, like to go in, and
yeah,
I'm just like, you know,
yeah." So they're all just sitting there talking, and I was like, "I didn't mean to interrupt." Like, "Well, we're changing our clothes, but come back in just a few minutes." And I was like, "I don't need to come back. I'm not," because I saw all the wives and the family
yeah.
was there. And then I was talking to Eric a little bit because Eric's just always accessible, and
It was either Carrie or Brad that probably pulled you in, you know.
it
Uh,
might have been Brad because I was just
yeah.
standing there hanging out and
Yeah,
talking to.
it probably would have been because it wouldn't have been Jack because Jack was sitting down. I
Yeah,
think
he was
Kelly.
sitting down. He's like,
Yeah,
"Hey, how you
so
doing?" And I'm like, I'm good,
yeah.
Jack Blades."
But yeah, when Ed pushed me in, I'm like, why am I in here?
Yeah,
I'm
like,
like
do I need to do something?
trying to figure it out. I'm like, maybe just I don't know. Uh but yeah, it's and listen, guys, we know we're living a dream and whatever. We're
Right.
just,
And
uh
most people will never get that experience, and we don't mean to be braggadocious about it, but it's a very cool experience that we can share with you. That these guys are so cool, and
yeah.
it's neat to just be standing in a hallway and have like
Well,
Carrie walk by and like hug you, like, "Hey, man, what's going
I
on?"
think, when I first ran into him, we're like I said, we were just in this little room. It's, you know, off right across from the dressing room. So if you walked out the dressing room, walked across the little hallway, you're in the little area we were. I think I said to you, like, you know, you're backstage with Night Ranger.
At the
Yeah.
Ryman.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so I mean, uh, and it's one of those things too. I mean, obviously the more you do anything, it just becomes
Right.
what it is. And then like I said, doing their socials and stuff, I usually have some type of, like kind of like business or whatever. When I see them, like, hey, we've done this, or I've,
Right.
my thing is I've been trying to get their pages verified. If you look, so I did Jack, Kelly's, and Brad's Instagram all at the same time, basically. Did the same setup, right? And
Yeah.
submitted everything. Jack's approved. Kelly's approved. Brad's denied. I'm like, what the fuck? You know? And
Like, we don't
Brad
think it.
and Brad's got more follow. You could add Jack and Kelly's together, and Brad's got more.
Yeah.
So, I got to tell Brad, like, hey, the guy who's probably the most into social, you know,
I got
yeah.
something to show you real quick while we're on the socials, and you tell me if this is real or not.
No, you're talking about Carrie Kelly on Instagram.
No, it is Jack Blades. Where's it at? You can talk amongst yourselves for
Um,
just a second.
so then about, I don't know, a week ago, I submitted verification on Facebook for Jack. Never heard anything back. And then this morning I submit one for Kelly. By the afternoon, it comes back approved. Still waiting on Jack's. And then that this afternoon it comes back denied on Jack's. So I don't know. It's a crapshoot. And I've been
Oh,
working on this for over a year.
I can't find it, but I'll get with you on the side or privately. I got sent someone wanting to follow me and follow back, and it was Jack Blades, and I was like, wait a minute.
Well, here's the thing. Jack Blades and Kelly Kagi on Instagram right now have the blue check mark. Kelly, I've got both. Blue check mark on Facebook as well. So hopefully you won't have this. Um right now there was a fake Carrie Kelly page that was out there.
Yeah,
There's a few Carrie pages. I mean, there's one that we have the official Carrie Kelly pages, which, they just fall under the Night Ranger umbrella. Carrie's not really big on social media, so we have it there saved for him. And occasionally we'll post, a picture from a gig or anything like that. And then there's a couple like fan pages out there. Um, One is a page that you would like on Facebook. The other one is actually like set up as an individual where you would add as a friend, but it's not really Carrie. It's an individual that he has helping him. So there are a few out there, but there's one on Instagram right now that is just flooding everything, and it's not,
yeah.
under his. But
I'll find it later. I don't want to take up time on the show, but yeah, I wanted. I was trying to find it to show you and anybody who gets this request. I'm pretty sure it's not Jack Blades, but I accepted that. I was like, I'll follow you back, so I want to see what you're doing.
yeah. Um, yeah, it's a never ending fight. So these blue check marks, hopefully, and I can't tell you who I talked to. I will tell you it's not in the Night Ranger camp at all. But I was talking to a musician that's in the field, and he was telling me that someone. Ooh, I just gave away a hint that it's not Lita Ford. Um, but um, that someone out there, a fan, had been duped by one of these fake profiles. Now, I'm not going to say who
Right.
the fake profile was, but they gave him $12,000. Now, I
Yeah,
always look at
that's
stuff
a
like
shame.
that. It's like that's a tax, for you being stupid. But yeah, it sucks. And so like I said, I've been making a just we've been working on getting these blue check marks even
Yeah,
before I was doing it.
yeah,
Um, and like I said, I've gotten lucky here in the last, but it's no rhyme or reason. There's no reason Brad should have got denied. Brad, you know, I put the
of
same type
all
of
of them,
yeah. Um,
he was actually active on it before.
yeah. So, anyways, that's here or there. So, but yeah, we're back there, and we're just living the dream, and
Absolutely.
um, I got some cool shots of the stage, before they went out. Uh, but the cool thing was, the set list. Um,
Yeah.
Now I don't know why their set list was a little bit longer, but it was. I don't know if that is, hey, because usually when they sign to play somewhere, that's in the contract. You'll play 90 minutes or you'll play, um, you know, uh, you'll play 75 minutes or
Yeah. But you got to be done by a certain time too.
correct.
There's
So
issues with labor.
I don't know if this one was, the Ryman wants, we want 3.5 solid hours. So you get an opener that plays so long, and then the headliner's got to play hour 45 or something.
Yeah.
Because there was songs added in, but they did play Penny,
Yep.
which hasn't been played um, in a while. Uh, they did play Bring It All Home off ATBPO, which went over really
I
well.
was gonna say, did you notice how well it went over?
Yes. Um, well, they played Rockin' America, Penny, 4 a.m., Sing Me Away, Coming of Age, Sentimental Street, Bring It All Home, Rumors, Secret, Um, Night Ranger. I think during those songs, I went back up to that third floor and sat on that couch again and took another little nap. Um, and I came back down during High Enough so I could get ready to film Reason to Be.
Yeah.
And I was in the back, and that place was going nuts for High Enough. So you can say what you want about Damn Yankee. And I remember too, Jack, I was backstage, and maybe it was for coming of age. Jack's like, "How many of you here want to hear a Damn Yankee song?" And that place got fucking loud.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Um, but they did Reason to Be off of Man in Motion, so that was cool. Hopefully they keep doing it because there wasn't a like that great a reaction for it. And did you catch this? I need to get a hold of them. You know, they got to figure out a way to get a hold of Jack and ask him. He said that was like the third or fourth song they ever
I
wrote.
I had a long conversation with one Brent Walter yesterday. I said, Brent, I said, you and Josh would know better than me. They said that was the third song they wrote. That's been sitting around since before Dawn Patrol. I said, I find that hard to believe. If so, why were you sitting on it for so long?
Well, if you remember, we learned that Carry On
Yeah, Mr. Carry On.
was Mr. Carry On that's on that original demo.
Yeah.
And then we heard that Hang On from uh High Road, right? I'm pretty sure it's High Road.
I have to check.
That chorus is the chorus from that original demo.
Yeah.
So I mean, they have, used stuff that they originally didn't, but
But yeah, so yeah, yeah, as the diehard fan podcaster, I caught that and I mean, like I stopped in my head. I'm like, wait a minute. He just said that was the third song. I think he meant the third song for the album, but he said
yeah,
third song we ever wrote together as a band. And I was like, I mean, I stopped listening to the song. I was doing some math. I was like, the song's been around since 82,
yeah.
81.
Now um shit.
Call him up real quick. Get him on the
Yeah.
blower.
There was something else I wanted to add to all this, and obviously I'm not.
I distracted you. Well,
Yeah.
so real quick,
Um,
did you, I don't know if you
well,
caught when he did Come Again,
okay.
before High Enough.
Yeah.
Jack came out and when they started playing High Enough, he stopped. Carrie was hold on, and I knew what he was doing. He come out and he did the first
Come
verse
again.
and chorus of Come Again, which
Yeah.
I love. I don't know how many people in the audience loved, but I love that because I love that song.
I
And
remember the first time I heard them do that was at like in Pickerington,
Dickerton,
Ohio.
I was there because I
Not too,
recorded it
yeah. So not, and I was just like, holy shit.
because I sent it
And
to Brent. I'm like, holy crap.
yes, so that was cool. And then when we saw him in Fort Wayne, there at Sweetwater,
Yeah,
and he did it, on stage. I think he messed around with it at sound check, but when he did it during the show,
yeah,
it was so fucking good.
yeah.
And I said something to him after the show. I'm like, I don't know what it was, but fucking Come Again sounds so fucking good tonight. He goes, yeah, I put a little extra on it tonight.
A little extra
So
mustard on
like,
it.
yeah, so he knew. Um, so after Reason to Be was Boys of Summer.
Yes,
Um, I know what I was going to say. I was going to ask you. So somewhere during the show, did Mr. Jack Blades, give Eric Levy some shit?
he did. And so you referencing back to why I didn't go out with you guys. Partially is I had made other plans that actually that fell through, but I was already committed to. I had my shoes and socks off, and I was home and not getting off the couch. But as usual, I was like, I know the culprits here. He's like Mr. Eric All Nighter Levy on keyboards, and he's smiling and laughing, and I was like, oh yeah. I said I know him and Josh were out a little later because we were talking backstage about that. Because Eric's like, "Where were you, man? Well, you missed out." I was like, "I don't know that I missed out. I missed out hanging out with Eric and Josh, but I don't know that I missed out on the debauchery of
There
off
was
Broadway."
there was no debauchery because
No,
I did have, we were back by a little bit after one. So
that's an early night for you
yeah.
guys,
Well,
in my experience.
a couple things. He's got a show the next day at the Ryman. Um, And Eric were, where I'd had 3 or 4 beers, Eric was on a plane and he's probably drinking. So, when we're out, I'm on beer 4 and maybe he's somewhere way down the road. So it's like, yeah, I need to get you back because, um, so yeah, it was that. But Eric and I had a good time. But
I would have liked to
anyways,
have seen you two walking the streets of downtown Nashville
oh, it was just
over to because you were the hotel. I mean, I don't think you guys were horribly. You were within walking
we
distance,
were
so
within walking distance, but it was me like, Eric, there's a curb there, be careful. Eric, I had, like I said, my fear was he trips, falls, lands on his hand, breaks it,
Rick's.
then I got Blade. What the fuck? I'm like, listen, man, I had 3 beers. I thought he was having 3 beers. Apparently, we didn't start the same spot.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it was all good though. We had a good time. Eric's a fun guy to hang out with. And I ate, I fucking ate $20 worth of street corn. Um, so but yeah, then you had the Boys of Summer from the Night Ranger acoustic record. Goodbye, When You Close Your Eyes, and Don't Tell Me You Love Me. And then the encore, Sister Christian. And then, just to make people bitch, Crazy Train and Highway to Hell, and people freaking loved it.
That place was rocking for those last two songs
Yes.
because I was 10 rows from the stage, and man, you could feel it where I was, and I know they could have felt it on stage. I mean, people were just like, and Jack. I mean, he looked possessed during Highway to Hell. He was really going for it, man. I was like, he's gonna blow his voice. He is going full on.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, he did Come Again, which is a Tommy song, so he's already up there. And then he gets there and he gets through Crazy Train, and then
Mm-hmm.
just keeps going to
Yeah, and
Bon Scott.
even Reason to Be, he's got a, he does the
Yeah,
high
he's doing the
part.
high end.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
but
um, but yeah, one cool thing that happened is, like I said, when they're playing, I'm everywhere. Might be back here talking with Ed. I might be on the third floor taking a 10-minute power nap. I may be on the balcony recording. I'm just everywhere. And at this moment, it was a little bit towards the first part of the show. I'm over in the wings, but I'm almost like in the hallway that goes to the dressing rooms and everything. So I'm not like right on stage.
yeah,
And in between songs, when Jack's talking, Brad starts walking over to me. So I take a couple steps to him, see what he need, because that this doesn't happen. Um, and he said something really cool to me, and I was like, you know, you know, whatever.
yeah,
And but anyways, it was just like basically he was, basically being appreciative that that
yeah.
of us and everything, and that was really cool. And then I don't know. I think I ran back up to the. Oh no! When I went and took my 10-minute power nap on the third floor, I came back down the elevator, which was on Carrie's side. And as I'm walking out of the elevator, there's probably about this much that you can see through the curtain to the stage. And I'm walking by. I don't even really look out. I don't think I looked out at all. But I'm walking by to go behind the curtain while they're playing to get to
Right.
the other side. And I hear Josh. I'm like, was that fucking Carrie? One, for him to be able to yell that loud, over the music. And like I walked in his side of view for half a second. So I turn back around. He's like, "Hey man, let's get some tequila." So I I go back over to Ed and like, "Hey, Carrie needs some tequila." Like it's on
It's already there.
it's on this rig. So I go back over and I find it. He's got a cup of it. And I get him over in between songs, like, "Yeah, it's right here." And then, well, where's yours? I'm like, "Well, shit, I'll be back." So I go find Ed, and there's just not much left. So I grab 2 cups. I pour Eric a shot, and I pour me a shot, and then I go back over into the song. We
Boom.
crash cups, take it, and then I past, so if you're out there while Jack was talking, you would have seen me come out a little bit side stage and give Eric his tequila. Um, but those were a couple good times. And I thought I went live on Fans of Motion, but apparently I did it on my own page where um I wanted to go live like behind the curtain.
Yeah.
And so I went live, I think I said like side stage or curtain, which one should I choose? And I started that out on the side stage, and then I went, back behind the curtain. But then the other, I don't know, yesterday or something, I went to, watch it because I hadn't watched it yet, just, filmed it. I couldn't find it. I'm like, what? Maybe I didn't save it or whatever.
Yeah.
Then later I'm doing something, and yeah, or someone, like, I got a notification someone's liking a video of mine. I'm like, on my page, I'm like, what video is that? Yeah, it's all right. Not the first time, but so yeah, it's on my personal page. So if you are not my friend, you do not get to see it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was a great show. Um, great set list.
Yeah. I'll say the one thing that I didn't quite get, and not a bad thing, because I absolutely love the song. I didn't get the Boys of Summer. No
I,
problem with it. I actually recorded it, but I was like, why? Like, you haven't done this in a while, have you?
I think they wanted to kind of extend that acoustic high enough and goodbye set.
Yeah, and it worked well.
So that's why, and I did hear the discussion of, hey, let's do it like this and this, and that's when they threw in Reason to Be
Yeah,
and Boys of Summer because they wanted to do 4 acoustic tracks. So, someone will be like, well, why didn't they do Restless Kind? Or, well,
I don't know. We're not
man,
there for those meetings.
they, you know, they're not working Boys of Summer from scratch. It's something they got in
They
their
know.
arsenal. So that's the reason why.
Yeah,
Um,
and it was great. And I mean, I know people. We've all bitched about the covers, but I'm telling you, man, it was great that night, and it was fun. It was just fun. The band was having fun.
mhm.
Talk to anybody in the page who was there. They were having a blast.
We saw some Fans in Motion shirts.
Saw some people
Um,
walking around. I had my name yelled a few times, and I'm like, I don't know where it's coming from. I'm looking around.
yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, Brian, Michael Cena
Yeah,
was
Brian Bless, Michael Sena.
yeah, was there.
The cool
Huh.
thing was for me, a quick little, another little that I enjoyed. So I'm sure most people don't know who Howard is, but Howard's the, I guess what you call the production manager for the show.
Yes.
And Howard somewhat knows who I am. Not much. Not would never say we're friends, but he was in the lobby when I came in, and I was like, "Hey, Howard." He's like, "Hey, man, how you doing?" I was like, "Nothing." He was talking to somebody. But then when we were backstage just hanging out, he was like, "Hey, Andy, can you help me with something?" Which I'm like, "Yes. What do you want me to do? Go on tour? I can do it." He's like, "No, just take these set lists up to the lighting and the sound guy."
Yeah,
Done and done.
I took one up to Steve.
Yeah,
I gave it to him like, I'm sorry, man, it's not signed.
yeah.
uh
So then I run them up there, and then as I'm running down, that was the time that you had set for the picture,
oh
but
yeah.
you were occupied elsewhere, and I was running back down the stairs because Michael had messaged me on my phone and said, "Hey, it's packed up here. I don't know if you guys still want to do the picture." And I couldn't find anybody, and then they're all, "Andy," and I stopped on the steps, the grand stairwells. Like, hey, and there they were. So I went over real quick and got the picture. They're like, "Where's Josh?" And I said, "I haven't seen Josh in about 15 minutes." I said, he was backstage and he was doing something. That's the last I saw of him. So, but it was fun.
Yeah.
Got the picture of a handful of us that were there, and then got to really enjoy the show, and it was fantastic. And then
I'm gonna probably have to pass off the responsibility of group photos because when you ran into me and you said something about the picture, yeah, it had
it was
just
past the time.
it was I didn't, You remember Kevin Avery was there. He was on the page. Terry Woodard, Tommy Wilson. Now these are people that I don't really know,
Yeah.
but they're on our page because they're posting shit. So it's gotten so big where we don't even know everybody on the page. And then I had to find them here. But there were a couple ladies who were in the meet and greet that had Fans of Motion shirts, and I didn't know them. I'm like, obviously I'd mailed them, to them, but where are they at? Uh, but that was cool. I had to tell them, like, hey, post your photo and tag me in it so I know,
Yeah.
um, who it is. Uh, there it is, Tammy Glover. So there's the,
Yeah.
you know, couple Fans of
Excuse me.
Motion shirts. So that was good. Um,
Apologize for that.
so yeah, I mean, and then
So
uh,
Josh, do you have a hatch print by you, the ones that they make for the show?
I got uh
I've got mine if you want
I
to look.
got I got the entire set they gave the band and crew right now. So I
Oh,
got
can
about
you see it
20
all?
here. Yes. Yep.
So that's cool. That's something they do. The Ryman does that for I think every show that's there.
Yeah.
They make a limited run of those, and they're cool. I guess that's some historical they used to always do. That's how I used to advertise the shows. I'm assuming.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, they still use like the old like the ink,
Yeah, I mean, look, it's the back of
and
it's dirty.
yeah,
I mean,
and
it's
they
not a pristine poster. That's how it
yeah.
comes.
Yeah, they still like how they used to do like newspaper where they get the letters and put them into little settings and stuff. That's still how they kind of do that. And Night Ranger signed a few, for the Ryman to use and hang
Yeah.
up. And also, there's a guest book that the Ryman has
Oh
where
wow.
bands sign. And so I went through it and took some photos of some like where I don't know, there was different bands, Leonard Skinner or something. I don't
Yeah.
know, but I took a pictures of 4 or 5 of them. Um, but yeah, and you got a little souvenir as well, didn't you?
I did. I had to go
You,
through four people to get that.
yeah, you.
Doing it, I even get it. It's laying on the floor over here. I don't have it framed yet because I cannot find a frame big enough for it, and I cannot find one that is even remotely affordable, custom made for it.
Well, don't you have an area with your saws and tools and everything where you
I
could just go
I
make?
I was talking to my dad, and he's like, I think I'm just gonna go to the hardware store and buy some decorative trim molding and just make my own at this point because it's if you go to I don't know if you've ever had anything custom frame, but man, it is not cheap.
Yeah,
And this poster is 28 by 60. Um, you do not see a lot of 60-inch frames anywhere. And if you go online to order one, they'll make one for you for a fee.
yeah.
So
Well, yeah.
do you,
So
do you want me to grab it and show it to everybody?
you can. Yeah, sure.
All right, talk for a minute. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
I gotta pick it up.
For everybody listening on Spotify, this will be riveting. Um, but so yeah, this is the poster that they had in the Ryman lobby advertising the upcoming show. So Andrew finagled his way in through 4 people to have them open up the case after the show and give that to him. Right there, look at that. Damn thing's about as tall as you. So look at that. Yeah. In 40 years, some relative of Andrew will be like, what the fuck is this? And be donating it to the Salvation Army. And then Andy
Are you
is
talking shit about me?
trying to find his pants after the show. Um, so let's wrap this up here. One thing I did see on my way back is I stopped at a gas station and you know in all places, Kentucky was the first state I ever saw this in, and maybe where you're at, you guys have seen this elsewhere. But the pump, when I went to get gas, the whole thing is touchscreen. Even like when you choose
Oh, the
what,
selector. Oh
yep,
yeah.
everything is just a touchscreen. Even select an 87, 89, or whatever. So that was, you know, the highlight of the trip. Um, and then after the show, Night Ranger loaded on their lime green bus and went to Roanoke. Um, and there were a few films there,
Yeah.
but now they're probably on their way. They got the Puerto Rico show and then the cruise, so they're probably all spending a few days in Florida or something. Um, but yeah, so we just wanted to make this episode talk about, we were both there. It's a great venue. I think now I'm going to be out on the road with them for the Oklahoma and Kansas show coming up at the end of the month. And then I think my next show will probably be Rock from the Heart show that's in Baltimore
Yeah.
in April. When's your next
I don't have anything lined up yet. I'm still looking at some dates and discussing things with my wife, and I have a few trips planned. So I mentioned before we were supposed to be out of town this past weekend, and she had booked everything, flights, hotels, rental cars, and had secured everything. And then I was like, oh, hey, I forgot to tell you, I got a Night Ranger concert Saturday night or Sunday night. And I actually was gonna not go. I was like, just I won't go to the show. It's not that big a deal. I've seen them, and it was crushing me. But I was like, I know all the work she put into it. Anyway, she rebooks everything to 2 weeks out, so I cannot. Uh, you know, I'm letting her get all the trips booked before I start buying tickets for shows.
and
I'm
there
thinking of the Party Girl show in Indiana. I might try to make
mhm.
that one,
Yeah, those should be fun. I mean,
and I'm waiting to see what more dates come up that are
and the
like it was
thing,
fantastic to have them actually in my town, so that I didn't have to drive 5 hours or 6 hours. I literally had to go 20 minutes.
yeah. Um, the good thing is too with the Mardi Gras shows is, yes, Night Ranger's not headlining. Yes, they're only playing maybe an hour. I mean, we get all that, but you can go buy a lawn ticket
Yeah,
for less than $25. I mean, maybe less than $20 for some of the shows I've seen, and to just go and sit on the lawn and just
it,
drink some beer and enjoy the summer a little bit, and then
it'll be a fun night of music.
when it's cold ass winter, you go see Night Ranger headline at one of the theaters or something. So,
Oh,
but yeah, it's a cool, crazy adventure that we have been on, and hopefully everybody out there in the fans of motion universe is having a good time as well. And um, yeah, um, all was all
yeah.
was well in the Night Ranger and fans of motion world. And
Well, and real quick, I mentioned it, and we've talked about it before, and I think you've made it the point more than once throughout the course of our career here. There's been some sniping and griping about set lists and whatnot, and just honestly, I'm in a mindset of like I'm happy we still have Night Ranger playing at this day and age. So I'm gonna let all that stuff go. It doesn't bother me what songs they play, and I'm okay with it. And I know people have your reasons for it, and I'm not saying you're right or wrong. I'm just saying, from my perspective, I'm gonna take as many shows as I can because there will be a day where they no longer will perform.
that day's probably not that far away, guys. I mean,
So yes,
they're
you go
they're
see them. I want at the end of my days to go. Yeah, I saw Night Ranger 110 times.
yeah. I mean, think about it. Somewhere in California, which we all consider somewhat recent, that's 12 years ago.
Yeah,
In 12 years, right? Kelly's going to be close to 83. Uh, you know,
they
uh,
will not be torn.
Brad's going to be 77, 78. Jack's going to be, 79, 80. So, even if they do the full 12 years from somewhere in California to now, you, they're not. So, my thing is you know, just don't spend your time focusing on the negative,
Yeah,
you know.
I
Just
agree.
focus on the positive and go have fun, and it is what it is. And what, like I told whoever the fuck posted on Facebook, you know, like said that we blocked him or something. It's like, I don't care if you don't like whatever record. I don't care if you don't like the set list. What I do care is when I gotta fucking hear about it all the time from the same fucking person. It's like,
Yeah,
dude, just scroll to something that you like
yeah.
and post it there. The world don't care if you don't like the set list. I mean, I don't mind, a good little debate or something, but when it's just
It
over
just
and
doesn't need to turn angry
over and over
again
again.
because, I'm a simpleton. I'm a homer for the band. I still get excited when I hear the intro to 4 in the morning.
Hmm. Well,
Uh,
here's
in
the
the
thing.
sentimental street. So I'm
I,
gonna take it.
I bought tickets to go see April Wine. All right, they got one original member. All right, all I care about is hearing the hits, which most of the people will.
Yeah,
They don't want to hear,
a
you know,
deep cut.
three songs that came after Roller. Um, I don't even know a fucking album title you know,
Yeah,
uh, to even throw, but that's how most people are.
yeah,
Um, so it is what it is. So, anyways, there you go,
yeah.
Andy and
Just go and enjoy.
I's Ryman Auditorium Night Ranger adventures. So, if you're listening out there, go find us on the Facebook. Fans in Motion. Just go to Facebook, type in Fans in Motion. You will find us. That's the hub of everything great. But we are also on the Instagram and the Twitter machine. And also, if you're listening to this on the YouTube machine, go click subscribe. I don't give a fuck where you're listening to. Hit subscribe, favorites, whatever. Let us know that we are loved. Um, I mean, we want to be very loved, like bring baby oil.
Yeah,
So
booger.
uh so we're on Spotify and all iHeartRadio, all that stuff. Obviously, we got the website fansinmotion.com. If you're interested in a Fans in Motion t-shirt, they are $25. That is including shipping. So send me a message on the Facebook machine, or you can go to www.fansinmotion.com, and somewhere on there it says contact, and I have an email address there, so you can go to that. What email it is, I can't remember which one, so I can't tell you, but go there, you'll find it.
And
Um,
real quick, it is just shipping in the continental United States, correct?
yeah, I mean,
$25 ain't gonna get it to England.
there ain't no fine print. Give me an English England address. You know, I'll send it in large print. Say sorry. Um, I mean, I will try it. I mean, now that I've got like a lot of the original orders out, if you're overseas somewhere and you really want one, um, you know,
Just get with Josh.
I'll just see what postage is and get it to you. But it was cool seeing some of the shirts there at the show in Nashville. Anyways, um,
Oh,
huh?
real quick, before I forget,
Yeah,
when I was waiting for this poster to come into my possession and the venue was being emptied out and security was pushing everybody out, uh, again the magic pass got me a pass to stand in there a little longer. But a security guard walks by, he looks at me, he goes, "Fucking Night Ranger, man, that was awesome." It's
yeah,
just he's a security guy. He's like, man, those guys sounded so good. I was like, yeah, they're awesome.
yeah.
So
I
there you
mean,
go.
I think it's going to be good for like the Brett Michaels tour. People, who normally maybe wouldn't go see them
Yeah,
will see them.
absolutely.
So,
So all right, that's all I
all
had.
right, man. Until next week, we shall see you all
Horns
later.
up.